Boyhood. I'm gonna try and be brief because I feel like if I talk too much about this, I'm not gonna be able to stop. I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about this great experiment, where a filmmaker decided to make a movie throughout 12 years. Now, the whole concept is he took a boy, that was, I believe, 8 at the time, and he played a 6-year-old. And he filmed him throughout 12 years. Every summer, this boy would come and do a movie, and the result was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's called Boyhood, so obviously it's about him and growing up and his friends and his family. And it was so good. I mean, I heard everyone say that it was fantastic, but I honestly thought that it would be a bit boring. It's long. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, I believe. It's very long, but it doesn't feel like it at all. It just flies by because it's so entertaining. Even though it's not, like a big... I don't really know how to say it. I mean, there aren't any plot twists and things like that, but it's so fascinating to see this kid grow up, and just to see how he develops, and Ethan Hawke plays his dad, and it's so weird to see that he actually ended up resembling Ethan Hawke a bit at the end of the movie. I just loved it so much. And the girl who played his sister, she was so good as well. And she, in the movie, plays someone that is my age and grew up like I did. Born in 94, 20 years old now. So it was so weird to see her develop the same way I did, listening to the same things I listened to. And that's a huge part of this movie, the music. It started out with a bang, with Coldplay, and it went on to Blink-182 and Travis Barker remixes, and Cobra Starship was in there, and Kings of Leon, and the Black Keys, and Lady Gaga was a big part of it, and how big she became, and that actually influenced the older girl. So it was so interesting to see all these songs that I grew up listening to, and see them in the movie. And the way they listened to them, it was so great. It just made me feel so... It's like a warm feeling inside when you see something that you can really relate to. And I feel like even though this is a movie about a specific boy with a specific family in a specific situation, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. I think everybody has been through this. I mean, there was one scene where he goes to a new school, and the teacher makes a huge deal about it, like, come on, everybody be nice to him, he's new, and he just sits down and every single kid is staring at him. I think we've all been through that. There's just little subtle things that you can always relate to. He's just walking down the street and a girl from his school goes to talk to him, and it's just such a simple conversation, but that's exactly how kids talk. And she just starts gossiping about her friend that likes him and her other friend that's in the hospital, and it just felt so natural and so real. And I think we've all been through what this kid has been through, even though we're not 6-year-old boys or 12-year-old boys. We've been through it. We understand how it works, sort of. So, it's the awkward years. And I love, towards the end, he has sort of a line where he says, he meets a girl that works with young kids from age to, like, 6 to 8. And she says how incredible it is that they are so unafraid and so open and not afraid to speak their mind, and they don't judge anybody. And he said, yeah, they still haven't entered the awkward phase, which he just came out of, I guess. It was so good, and his parents were so good, and the whole, I guess, dynamic between the divorced parents. I'm a kid of divorced parents, and I know what it is, and it felt really real, I guess, and Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because I feel like this is something that everybody should experience on their own. I feel like, again, and I keep saying that, but it's the best way to describe it. There's something there for everybody, and there's something that everyone can relate to. And the music just made it so much better, and it was so interesting to see him develop and grow up, and his sister too. And the cuts were so abrupt, and I love that. I love when you just jump cuts. And the only way to really take notice of the fact that, oh, this is the next year, is the music. At the beginning of, sort of at the beginning of every year, they play a song that was big back then. So you're like, oh my god, this came out in 2007, this came out in 2005, and that's sort of the mechanic used to put you in that year, just so you know where you are, how old he is, and all that. So I really appreciated that. It's something that I love music, and I remember all those songs that I grew up listening to, and it was just such a nice feeling to see them all in this movie. And again, everyone can relate to this, honestly, everyone can, and I don't want to get too much into it because, again, I feel like there's not much I can say to really do it justice. It was fantastic. It was such a great experience. It's not the most original story, it's just a boy, but the way it was done was original. The fact that they just took a kid and followed him through 12 years of his life. And he's my age now, he's 20 years old, and he plays someone that's a couple years younger. And his experience through life, and how much, you know, he moved around, and trouble in school, and his family. It's something that we can all really appreciate. Let's just say that. I think we can all appreciate the fact that it was done in such an original way. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Big thumbs up to Boyhood. Absolutely fantastic. It's an experience. That's what it is. It's not really a movie. It's an experience. It just makes you feel things. It made me feel emotional. I didn't cry or anything, but there were certain moments where it hit home, and it felt really personal and intimate, and I could really appreciate it. So yeah, Boyhood, I hope everybody watches it, I hope everybody enjoys it. It's certainly one of those movies that you can't just pass on, and it's such a shame that I think it's in limited release. I don't think it's even coming out here in Spain, so that's a shame, but I feel like everyone should experience it for themselves and see what they relate to, and see if this reflects their experience of growing up and childhood and teenage years and all those really awkward phases that we all go through. So yeah, big thumbs up to Boyhood. I hope everybody likes it. Yeah, that's all I can say.